Here's a letter I'm working on to Judge Abby Rogers of Durant, Oklahoma. She's a judge there. It's questioning Judge Abby Rogers. Why is it that I, as your everyday Joe, who has been to court a dozen times total in my life, half of which had nothing to do with my personal life, my experience level had to be around a 2 out of 10. In contrast, yours and Rob's should have been around a 7 to 10 for both of you. You placed higher expectations of keeping myself emotionally in check than you, a judge, or Rob Henderson, a lawyer. When I think judge, I think of the fact that you spend at least 40 hours a week, years on end, dealing with trial type stuff. Rob Henderson had spent hundreds of hours in court settings. Rob had emotional fits, and you, Judge Rogers, also had many outbursts. Even the court reporter on 2 occasions broke down crying and had to leave the courtroom. I was the only victim in the room. I had not seen my daughter in over a year at the first hearing and multiple years by the second, third, and fourth hearings in your courtroom. Not counting the other court cases in which the false allegations or half-truths of Mr. Robert William Henderson and Mrs. Megan Colleen Henderson, formerly Meeks, Shimonek, and Hartley, landed me charges that were ultimately dismissed in the interest of justice. I'm currently facing one more charge for a violation of a protective order that I 100% did not violate. Still, somehow Rob Henderson got a friend that is likely a member of his Freemasons organization to assist in getting another charge on me. Criminal charges don't scare me in a sense that I at least am provided a lawyer and can take it to the randomly selected jury instead of people who are friends with Rob choosing to condemn me in his favor for no reason except to silence me about what they did to me. I was not granted a lawyer for the civil case, even though protective orders have criminal ramifications, even stripping me of some of my freedoms. There was never one fear of me being violent. I am a pacifist. The people and ideas that inspire me in life are Sam Harris, Dr. Jordan Peterson, Dr. Romani, TED Talks, motivational books, Buddhism, mindfulness meditations, and the Knight's Code, one of which is to not stay silent in the face of justice or injustice. The protective orders were used for nefarious and frivolous reasons. I assume you, the judge, was oblivious to the manipulations employed against the man you trusted. By the end of the second protective order hearing, you had it all sorted out that clearly they were playing the entirety of the Bryan County Courthouse for fools, and that was why you didn't grant the second protective order. Don't worry, Megan played me and my entire family for fools. Something about her makes it hard not to believe what's coming from her mouth. Fact, Rob Henderson is the third man Megan ended up having a child with after seducing said man from their marriages. The first was Mr. Ford from Galveston, Texas. The second was me, obviously, and now the third is Mr. Henderson. We were all married when Megan used seduction tactics at the peril of the family she destroyed for her seduction. The peril of the family she destroyed for her gain. Megan and Rob were guilty of the crime of homewrecking in Durant, Oklahoma, Bryan County. I'm not sure if Megan or John Houston Nix is the one guilty of the crime of contract fraud in Sherman, Texas, Grayson County. She and Robert act like they are oblivious to the changes made without pleadings. John Houston Nix changed my divorce pleadings after I signed them with no pleadings orally or in writing. All of my signatures were not valid once the document was modified. They served an address they knew I didn't live at to ensure that I didn't know of the hearing, and John lied to Judge Phillips, stating that he had informed me in our previous meeting about said hearing. I have the recording of the whole meeting where I told him an excellent address to serve me, that I no longer agreed to anything I had signed. We were going to proceed forward with establishing child support and visitation. Nowhere in that meeting did he inform me about the upcoming trial. Yes, I'm sure there were routes for me to check daily to find out, but going through the massive levels of distress from my family falling apart and the crossfire of 2 ex-wives set out to destroy me, I was mentally at capacity. Megan and Rob and John had at least 20 plus points of contact to plan and organize a fair trial. They intentionally kept this silent, counting on my failure to secure their victory and allowing their lies to reign supreme without my presence to fight those lies. Megan used false charges and or allegations against her first and second husbands to call forth white knights like Mr. Henderson and myself to save her. In the world of mythological creatures, Megan is a siren. Beautiful, sweet voice calls sailors to reckon to the rocks. Megan is not allowed to be startled by what I do on the internet. It is in the terms we agreed upon. In the event she kept my daughter from me, she used the same methods against others to hold them publicly accountable for their actions. Everyone around them needs to know what they are capable of and willing to do to win at any cost. They have harmed me in every way a person can be injured: physically, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, romantically, psychologically, intimately. I am sure 100% that years of healthy life have been shaved off my existence dealing with the massive loads of stress that this has put me through. That takes away from my kids, my grandkids, and my great-grandkids. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth is a phrase that is commonly used in legal proceedings, particularly in courts of law. It is a solemn oath or affirmation that witnesses take before giving testimony, in which they swear to tell the truth and provide a complete and accurate account of the events or information they are testifying about. Robin and Megan used partial truths to manipulate the court into an unfair ruling. The phrase emphasizes the importance of honesty and integrity in the legal system and is meant to remind witnesses of their duty to provide truthful and reliable testimony. By taking this oath or affirmations, witnesses are legally bound to provide truthful and complete testimony without omitting or withholding any relevant information. This rule helps to ensure that the legal process is fair and just and that the truth is ultimately revealed. Rob and Megan committed so many counts of perjury, it was disgusting. And for what? What have I done except not lay silent while they took advantage of me? While in court, I tried using the metaphor that I am a victim of a crime worse than rape. And after years of reflection, however, I still believe what I'm saying with that statement to be accurate. Realistically, rape and what was done to me are the same in essence. It is being taken advantage of. I left myself exposed and vulnerable. I trusted the people involved not to take advantage of me, and they did it anyway, feeling that since I wore the short skirt and low-cut top, I deserved to be taken advantage of. Judges are expected to be impartial and unbiased in all cases, regardless of whether counsel represents a litigant or is proceeding pro se without an attorney. However, studies and anecdotal evidence suggest that some judges may hold negative attitudes or bias against pro se litigants, which can result in unfair treatment or disadvantages in court proceedings. In both cases, Rob, being a lawyer, did not help me with my case as I was pro se. There are several reasons why this bias may occur. For example, judges may be more familiar with the legal process and expect litigants to follow specific procedures or rules those pro se litigants may need to be aware of. Judges may also perceive pro se litigants as less credible or competent than represented litigants, affecting their perception of the case and the outcome. Judges must be aware of and address any biases or negative attitude towards pro se litigants to ensure that all parties are treated fairly and that justice is served. Pro se litigants should also be aware of their rights and responsibilities in courts and should seek assistance from legal resources or self-help centers if needed, but I could not afford it. Judges are expected to maintain a professional demeanor and to conduct themselves in a manner that is respectful to all parties involved in the trial. However, there may be inconsistencies where a judge has an emotional outburst, which can significantly impact the trial and the parties involved. Emotional outbursts by a judge can be perceived as biased or unfair and undermine the judge's credibility and the trial's integrity. For example, if a judge becomes visibly angry or frustrated with one party, it may create the impression that the judge is taking sides and is not impartial. This can lead to a loss of confidence in the judicial process and ultimately harm the court's reputation. In addition, Emotional outbursts by a judge can also affect the behavior and mindset of the parties and their attorneys. For example, if a judge becomes angry or confrontational, it may cause the parties to become defensive or emotional, resulting in a breakdown of communication or cooperation. Not following this, in turn, can make resolving the issue at hand more difficult and prolong the trial. Overall, emotional outbursts by a judge can have severe consequences for the trial and the parties involved. Judges must maintain their composure and conduct themselves consistently with fairness, impartiality, and respect for all parties. If a judge is unable to do so, it may be necessary to take steps to address the situation, such as requesting a recusal or filing a formal complaint. Judge Rogers should have asked for a recusal from this case. The officer that put the charges in place in Durant, Oklahoma, refused to answer if he was part of Rob Henderson's Freemason group. Wrongfully placing someone under protective order can have serious, my wording is a little off on that. Wrongfully placing someone under a protective order can seriously affect their life and livelihood. Protective orders are legal orders designed to protect individuals from harm or harassment by another person. Still, they can also be used inappropriately or maliciously to harm someone's reputation or to gain an advantage in a legal dispute, which is what they were doing, was gaining an advantage in a legal dispute. If someone is wrongfully placed under protective order, they may be subject to a number of restrictions and limitations that can significantly impact their daily lives and activities. In addition, being subject to a protective order can have long-term consequences for someone's career and professional reputation. For example, suppose someone cannot work due to orders. I'm going to skip all this part. Overall, wrongfully placing someone under a protective order can have several long-lasting effects on their life and livelihood. It is essential for protective orders to be used appropriately and for individuals to be allowed to defend themselves against false or malicious allegations. So that's what I wrote this morning. I had this inspired idea to maybe say something to Judge Rogers. But, oh shit, I got my jumper person here. My car's broke down. That's why I'm doing this video.